Christy McNichol was once one of the brightest young stars in Hollywood. During the late 1970s and early 1980s, millions of people watched her on television and in movies. She had a natural style that made audiences feel connected to her. Unlike many child actors who looked uncomfortable in front of the camera, Christy seemed calm and real. Her smile felt warm, her acting felt honest, and viewers believed every emotion she showed on screen. At a very young age, she became one of the most recognized teenage actresses in America. She won awards, appeared in successful shows, and built a career many people dreamed about. But just when it looked like she would remain famous forever, she suddenly disappeared from Hollywood. Fans were shocked because there was no big announcement and no clear explanation. One day she was everywhere, and then she was gone. For many years, people wondered what happened. Some believed she was tired of fame. Others thought the pressure of Hollywood became too heavy for her to carry. As time passed, her disappearance became one of the biggest mysteries in celebrity culture. Now, decades later, people better understand why Christy McNichol walked away from acting. Her story is not only about fame and success. It is also about stress, emotional pressure, mental health, and the cost of growing up too fast. Behind the awards and magazine covers was a young woman trying to survive in an industry that demanded more and more from her every year. Her journey shows how difficult life can become for child stars who lose their privacy, freedom, and childhood while trying to entertain millions of people around the world. Christy McNichol did not grow up surrounded by luxury or Hollywood glamour. Her early life was very different from the image people later saw on television. Her mother, Carolyn, worked many different jobs to support the family and keep food on the table. She worked hard and did whatever she could to survive, including secretarial work, selling products, and taking small jobs as a movie extra. One day, she brought her children, Christy and her older brother Jimmy, to a movie set because she could not find someone to watch them. That simple moment changed their lives forever. A crew member noticed the children and suggested they might be good for commercials. Soon both kids began auditioning, and before long they were appearing in television ads and small acting jobs. Jimmy enjoyed the excitement of movie sets, but Christy was naturally shy and nervous. Even so, casting directors quickly noticed something special about her. She had a quiet but powerful screen presence that felt real and emotional. By the age of 14, she landed the role of Buddy Lawrence on the television drama Family. The role turned her into a national star almost overnight. Audiences connected with her because she did not seem fake or overly polished. She felt like a real teenager dealing with real emotions. While other children spent time playing outside or hanging out with friends, Christy was learning scripts, traveling to sets, and working long hours under bright studio lights. The responsibilities placed on her were much larger than what most children experience. She matured quickly because she had to. In many ways, she became more like an adult than a teenager. That early pressure helped her career grow fast, but it also slowly took away the normal childhood she could never get back. As Christy McNichol's popularity continued to rise, her life became busier and more demanding. Success in Hollywood often creates more pressure instead of more freedom, especially for young actors. After becoming famous on Family, Christy quickly moved into movies and other television projects. Producers wanted her because audiences trusted her performances. She starred in films such as Little Darlings, Only When I Laugh, White Dog, and The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. Critics praised her acting because she brought emotional depth to every role. She did not simply memorize lines. She made characters feel human and believable. At the same time, she also explored music with her brother Jimmy. Together, they released songs and performed in television specials. From the outside, it looked like Christy had the perfect career. She was talented, successful, admired, and constantly working. But inside, the nonstop schedule was slowly wearing her down. She later admitted that she struggled to say no to work because she wanted to make others happy, especially her family. Before one project ended, another one was already waiting. Flights, filming schedules, interviews, rehearsals, and public appearances became her normal life. There was very little time for rest or personal growth. She was still emotionally young, but the world treated her like a fully grown professional. Over time, That imbalance began affecting her mental health. She started feeling emotionally exhausted and disconnected from herself. While audiences saw a smiling celebrity, Christy privately felt overwhelmed. The pressure to remain successful and perfect became harder to manage every year. Like many child stars, she carried adult responsibilities long before she was emotionally prepared for them. Her fame continued growing, but so did the emotional cost attached to it. One of the most painful parts of Christy McNichol's story is how much of her childhood she felt she had lost. While millions of fans admired her success, Christy often felt like she missed out on normal experiences that most young people enjoy. She later explained that she had become a miniature adult at a very young age. Instead of worrying about school dances, friendships, or simple teenage adventures, she focused on work, responsibilities, and professional expectations. Even at home, the family dynamic sometimes felt unusual. Christy once joked that she acted more like the parent, while her mother acted more like the child. Behind that joke was a deeper truth. She carried emotional responsibilities that many children should never have to handle. As she moved through her teenage years, the pressure became even more intense because millions of people were watching her every move. Fame can make young actors feel trapped because they are constantly judged by audiences, reporters, producers, and fans. Christy tried to stay calm and professional, but internally she was struggling with exhaustion and emotional confusion. After years of nonstop work, she began showing signs that she wanted to reclaim the childhood she never really had. She spoke about playful behavior, pranks, and moments of rebellion that appeared later in her life. Those actions were not simply immature behavior. They reflected a deeper emotional need to experience the freedom she missed while growing up in Hollywood. Many former child stars described similar feelings later in life. They often realized that while their careers moved forward quickly, parts of their emotional development were left behind. Christy's story shows how success can sometimes hide emotional pain. The public saw awards and fame, but behind the scenes she was dealing with stress, loneliness, and the growing realization that her personal happiness had been sacrificed for a career that never slowed down. During the late 1970s and early 1980s, Christy McNichol became one of the most recognizable young actresses in America. Her face appeared in magazines, television interviews, movies, and entertainment programs everywhere. She was considered relatable because she did not act like a distant celebrity. Fans believed she was genuine, and that helped her popularity continue growing. However, constant public attention also created emotional pressure. Hollywood can be extremely difficult for adults, and for young performers it can feel overwhelming. Every appearance, interview, and performance carries expectations. Actors are expected to remain successful, attractive, professional, and emotionally stable at all times. For Christy, those expectations became exhausting. She worked on film after film while trying to maintain a cheerful public image. One important turning point came during production of the 1984 movie, Just the Way You Are. The film required emotional vulnerability, and production took place far from home in Paris. While the movie seemed exciting from the outside, Christy's mental and emotional health was beginning to collapse under years of stress. Reports later explained that she experienced serious emotional struggles during this period. The pressure had finally reached a breaking point. For many people around her, it became clear that she needed help and rest more than another successful project. Thankfully, her brother Jimmy became a major source of support during this difficult time. Their relationship remained strong throughout their careers, and he stood beside her when things became overwhelming. In an industry where many celebrities feel isolated, that family support likely helped Christy survive one of the darkest periods of her life. Her breakdown shocked many people because audiences only saw the polished image presented on television. They did not see the years of exhaustion quietly building behind the scenes. After experiencing emotional struggles and burnout, Christy McNichol slowly began stepping away from Hollywood. For fans, the change felt sudden and confusing because she had once seemed unstoppable. Many people expected her to continue acting for decades and become one of the biggest stars of her generation. Instead, her appearances became less frequent, and eventually she disappeared from the spotlight almost completely. During that period, rumors spread everywhere. Some believed she no longer enjoyed acting. Others thought Hollywood had rejected her. But the truth was much more personal and emotional. Christy needed distance from the pressure, attention, and constant demands that had controlled her life since childhood. Walking away from fame is not easy, especially for someone whose identity has been connected to acting for so many years. Hollywood often makes celebrities feel trapped because their careers become tied to public expectations. Leaving can feel like losing a part of yourself. But for Christy, stepping away may have been necessary for survival and healing. Over time, she chose a quieter life focused more on personal happiness than public attention. She later became involved in teaching acting and helping younger performers develop confidence and emotional strength. Instead of chasing fame again, she focused on peace, stability, and emotional well-being. Her decision surprised many people because society often views fame as something everyone should want forever. Yet Christie's story reminds people that success does not always create happiness. Sometimes walking away from pressure is the healthiest choice a person can make. Years later, many fans began respecting her decision even more because they understood the emotional damage Hollywood can cause. Rather than allowing fame to completely destroy her mental health, she chose a different path. That decision may have saved her life, even if it meant leaving behind a career that once made her famous around the world. Another important part of Christy McNichol's journey involved her decision to speak openly about her personal life after many years of privacy. In 2012, she publicly shared that she was gay and had been living happily with her partner for many years. At the same time, she explained that she wanted to help younger people who were struggling with bullying, fear, or confusion about their identity. Her announcement received a great deal of support from fans and many people in the entertainment world. Looking back, it also helped explain some of the pressure she may have felt during earlier decades in Hollywood. During the 1970s and 1980s, the entertainment industry was often much less accepting of LGBTQ individuals than it is today. Many celebrities feared public judgment or damage to their careers if they openly discussed their identity. For someone already dealing with anxiety, stress, and emotional exhaustion, hiding such a personal part of life could create even more pressure. Christie's honesty later in life showed courage because she chose openness after many years of silence. She no longer seemed interested in protecting a Hollywood image. Instead, she focused on living honestly and peacefully. Her story connected with many fans who appreciated her sincerity and strength. Rather than returning to fame for attention, she used her voice carefully and thoughtfully. Over time, public opinion about her changed as people gained a deeper understanding of the emotional battles she faced throughout her career. She was no longer viewed simply as a missing celebrity from the past. Instead, she became an example of someone who survived the darker side of fame and eventually built a healthier, more authentic life outside the entertainment industry. Today, Christy McNichol's story continues to fascinate people because it represents much more than a celebrity leaving Hollywood. Her life reflects a hidden emotional cost that often exists behind fame and success. Many viewers who grew up watching her still remember the warmth and honesty she brought to the screen. Younger audiences discovering her story now often feel surprised by how intense life became for child stars during that era. Christy achieved enormous success at a young age, but the pressure attached to that success slowly became overwhelming. Her decision to leave acting was not simply about ending a career. It was about protecting her mental health, finding personal peace, and finally living life on her own terms. In many ways, her story carries an important message for modern audiences. Society often celebrates fame without fully understanding the emotional sacrifices behind it. People see awards, money, and popularity, but they do not always see the exhaustion, anxiety, loneliness, and pressure celebrities experience privately. Christy McNichol's journey reminds people that emotional well-being matters more than public success. Even though she walked away from Hollywood decades ago, many fans still admire her because she chose honesty and healing over endless fame. Her legacy is not only connected to the roles she played on television and in movies, it is also connected to the courage she showed by stepping away from an unhealthy situation and building a quieter, healthier life. For many former fans, that decision now seems less mysterious and more understandable. Instead of seeing her disappearance as a tragedy, many people now view it as an act of survival, strength, and self-protection after years spent carrying the heavy burden of fame. Today, Christy McNichol's story continues to fascinate people because it represents much more than a celebrity leaving Hollywood. Her life reflects a hidden emotional cost that often exists behind fame and success. Many viewers who grew up watching her still remember the warmth and honesty she brought to the screen. Younger audiences discovering her story now often feel surprised by how intense life became for child stars during that era. Christy achieved enormous success at a young age, but the pressure attached to that success slowly became overwhelming. Her decision to leave acting was not simply about ending a career. It was about protecting her mental health, finding personal peace, and finally living life on her own terms. In many ways, her story carries an important message for modern audiences. Society often celebrates fame without fully understanding the emotional sacrifices behind it. People see awards, money, and popularity, but they do not always see the exhaustion, anxiety, loneliness, and pressure celebrities experience privately. Christy McNichol's journey reminds people that emotional well-being matters more than public success. Even though she walked away from Hollywood decades ago, many fans still admire her because she chose honesty and healing over endless fame. Her legacy is not only connected to the roles she played on television and in movies, it is also connected to the courage she showed by stepping away from an unhealthy situation and building a quieter, healthier life. For many former fans, that decision now seems less mysterious and more understandable. Instead of seeing her disappearance as a tragedy, many people now view it as an act of survival, strength, and self-protection after years spent carrying the heavy burden of fame. Even after stepping away from Hollywood, Christy McNichol never completely disappeared from the hearts of her fans. People who grew up watching her performances continued talking about her for decades because she represented something rare in entertainment. She felt honest, relatable, and emotionally real in a way many stars did not. Unlike celebrities who constantly chase attention, Christy chose privacy and personal peace over fame. That decision became even more respected as more stories about the struggles of child stars began appearing in public. Over the years, many former young actors openly discussed problems involving depression, addiction, anxiety, and emotional trauma connected to growing up in the entertainment industry. As audiences learned more about those painful experiences, Christy's decision to leave Hollywood started making much more sense. Instead of judging her for walking away, many people began seeing her as someone wise enough to recognize when enough was enough. In interviews later in life, Christy appeared calmer